I'm nice and I wear clean clothes. I don't fight with anybody. I speak nicely to people and I'm sincere.
3 years ago, in a tiny desert village in Rajasthan, we met Niraj, living with 15 members of her herding family, and their goats and water buffalo.
I'm about 9 or 10. I've been studying for the past year. If they teach us, we get knowledge, and that's good.
Niraj's mother was not as convinced of the need for education.
What's so great about being educated? Even if you study, these educated people have nothing to do. Look at them, just sitting there. You may as well graze cattle and have fun. We educated our sons, and what good has it done? Anyway, the everyday chores will take over.
Niraj was intended to marry a boy in another village, and while early marriage is common in her area, Niraj had convinced her parents to send her to night school.
I work during the day, and so I go to night school. I do so much. I have to sweep, I have to bring water, I have to make dung cakes, I have to graze the cows. But these boys do no work, so they go to the day school.
After a long day of chores, Niraj and her friend would set out for night school and enjoy a few moments of play before the teacher arrived. In India, more than 26 million children do not attend primary school. And here in Rajasthan, thousands of children like Niraj, who work during the day, go to school at night.
गोल है और टीम 4-4 पे दो पर रख दें तो बराबर हो जाएगी 4-4 8 टीम बराबर हो जाएगी टीम तो 4-4 क्यों हो जाएगी 4-4 तो जाएगी 8
While night school offers the basics, it is only a marginal solution to an overwhelming problem.
When I come back, I eat, and everyone's asleep.
When we went to find Niraj 3 years later, she was not home. She had been taken out of school 2 months earlier to help her brother, uncle, and cousin graze the family's livestock. We went looking for her among the herding families in the desert. But we were unable to find her on this trip. Three months later, Niraj returned home.
I was taking care of the really young cattle, feeding and protecting them, and cooking food for my brother. He'd come and eat it. I missed school and my brothers and sisters.
Niraj is back in night school, for the moment. But the constant interruptions have undermined her progress. Night school rarely takes students above the 1st or 2nd grade level, and Niraj has had to repeat much of the curriculum.
2 अब वो बीच के अंदर का कौन सी में जोड़ को तो 2 और 1 कितना हुआ
I used to know more, but I've forgotten because I went with the cattle. Now that I'm back, he'll teach me and I'll learn quickly. I'll learn and be able to teach children.
When I grow up, I want to be a soccer player. Soccer is the thing I like most about my country. And a teacher. A good math teacher. But only math.
Jefferson Narciso is 3 days shy of his 8th birthday and growing up in Rio de Janeiro, home to beautiful beaches, modern skyscrapers, and sprawling, dangerous slums. A decade ago, Brazil set out to invest in its economic future by enrolling as many children as possible in school. Even the poorest, like Jefferson, who lives in Rocinha, the biggest favela or shantytown in all of South America. When we first met Jefferson, he was 5 years old and absorbed in the important activities of childhood.
Ele salta, se deixar fica o dia inteiro soltando pipa.
If I let him, he'll spend his whole day playing with his kite, running, playing marbles, riding scooters with the boys. I worry a lot because sometimes he disappears. He goes upstairs to play with his kite, and if I don't go up and grab him, he never comes home.
Unemployed and raising 4 children alone in Rocinha, Leslie had many reasons to worry. Drug dealing was a daily reality in the favela, and Leslie felt school was critical to keeping her children on the right path. Three years later, Leslie is still unemployed. Her low income qualifies her for Brazil's Bolsa Familia, a monthly stipend she receives as long as her children stay in school. The $45 check covers about half of Leslie's rent. But as much as she worries about money, Leslie worries more about her children's daily walk to school.
When I'm going to school, sometimes there are gunshots. So I hide in a shack, or I stop in some other place.
Rocinha is a battleground of Rio's drug trade, and wars between gangs, police, and paramilitary groups have been escalating. Rio has one of the world's highest homicide rates.
When I see the police, I get a little scared. Because they could shoot at a drug dealer, and a stray bullet could come at me.
We can never anticipate when a war will start. Many children were coming home from school, and kids were hurt. Jefferson had a friend, and a little while ago, his father was killed.
School is a second home for the kids. For some, it's a first, you know. Here they can count on learning and affection. It's a refuge for them, so they can feel connected to a moment of peace and pleasure.
Jefferson is in Brazil's equivalent of second grade. His class is learning to read through a curriculum about the human body.
Generally, the kids are very hyper and never stop. But Jefferson is different. He sits in his little spot and waits for my orders.
Coloca o dedinho aqui dentro, coloca na sua língua, isso que você vai pegar. É doce, é salgado, é amargo?
Sal.
Só com a boca? Assim, encostar só na boca? Através da... E assim, o interesse, ele já veio...
What I find interesting is that he already knows how to read. Generally, this doesn't happen. Most kids aren't reading fluently.
While nearly every child in Brazil is now in primary school, fewer than 5% of them can read properly by the 4th grade. After school, Jefferson helps supplement the family's income by making bracelets for tourists.
The money we get, we use to buy Christmas outfits, shoes, and things like that.
When I throw out the neighbor's garbage, I make 50 cents.
When he is not doing these jobs or homework, Jefferson follows his dream, playing soccer in an after-school program at the local community center. Jefferson is now 8 years old.
My dream for Jefferson's life is for him to be a good worker and not be a drug dealer. Because the worst thing that could happen to a mother is to see her son mixed up with drugs. I hope that he grows up being a good student, a good worker, and able to raise his family far away from here.